Killington Mountain in Vermont will host Skiing World Cup races this weekend after Thanksgiving. And joining us now, we have Lila Lapanja, a World Cup Alpine ski racer who is in the Northeast for the races up in Killington. Lila, thanks so much for joining me, first of all, but how's the ski season been so far? And where are you coming to Killington from?
Yeah, it's been a good season so far. We started our tour up in Finland, just north of the Arctic Circle, actually, where you only get 4 or 5 hours of sunlight a day. So I'm coming off of 2 weeks up there. We had a really great training block up there, and then 2 races up there. And I just arrived here in Killington late last night.
Amazing. What's the journey been like for you this year as a ski racer? For those of us who have never experienced, anything like that in our lives, like what's the day-to-day training and travel look like for you?
Yeah, ski racing is a very demanding sport. It requires you to be in really top physical shape, not only endurance wise and strength wise, but also flexibility, coordination, balance. There's so many different elements that you have to focus on. And so during the summer, when we're not on snow, the main part of our training is physical training, just being in the gym, being out on a track, putting together a physical strength and conditioning program that gets us ready to be on snow and able to handle the load, the really demanding days that we have when we're on snow. We have early mornings and we're up on mountains. We're sometimes up on glaciers. They're long days, and everything your world becomes very simple, and it just becomes about training, waking up, making sure you're eating right, making sure you're resting, getting enough sleep is probably the number one most important thing for all of us, but especially at the highest level of athletics. And so this season, I've put a lot of focus the first half of the summer into my physical training. And then once August rolled around, I headed to Europe and went and trained in Switzerland in a place called Saas-Fee. And that is a glacier that they still have there, and hopefully will continue to still have for many years. But I did a predominant block of my training up there and spent my summer just focusing on that skiing portion. And then when I wasn't skiing, I just maintained a lot of emphasis on making sure I was going into the gym and taking care of myself physically.
And you're coming back to the Northeast. You've raced at Killington before. Now, it's obviously early in the snow season for us here in the Northeast. What are the conditions usually like there, and what's the mountain like from your experience?
Killington, I mean, I love coming to the East Coast. It's kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know quite what you're going to get when it comes to the weather. And so I've been in Killington years where there's been no snow. I've been here where we've had tons of snow. I've been here when it's been like 40 degrees and raining. I've been here when it's been -5 and crisp. And this year, they've done an amazing job. I know people were starting to stress a little bit with the warm temperatures, but Killington has the best snowmaking system in the world, and they only need 2, 3 days to get enough snow on the race hill to start preparing it for a World Cup surface. And it's quite amazing what they're able to do here. As far as the hill goes, Superstar, it's quite fun for a slalom. I will be just racing the slalom, and it's a cool event for spectators because you can see a lot of the hill. In a lot of other places that we race, you can only see part of it, and they have a big jumbo screen where you can follow the athlete from start to finish. But here in Killington, you get to see almost, I think, at least 60 or 70% of the actual race hill. So it's a great place to come watch a ski race.
And it's super accessible for people living in the Boston area. Killington is just a couple hours away in a car. But Lila, what's a day in your life look like when you have to race in a World Cup or major event? Like, do you have any superstitions or things that you do beforehand?
I try very purposefully not to be superstitious. I've done that in the past with no success. So I keep it very simple. The night before, I'll usually do some sort of physical activation to make sure my body's feeling spicy, like that the muscles are activated. I'll do some quickness drills and some sprints or just anything to kind of just make my body feel activated and physically prepared for the awake for the next day, because slalom is a very explosive lateral bounding type event, and you have to be thinking really fast too. So the night before I'll do that. I'll make sure I get a really good meal in me. And then in the morning, I'm one of these athletes. I'm a little bit more relaxed than I used to be when I was a younger athlete. And so I give myself a lot of time in the morning to just wake up slowly and go through my morning routine and have a nice long breakfast. I usually spend like 30 minutes at breakfast, and I'll typically eat. My eggs are my favorite. So if I can get my hands on some eggs, I'll go for my eggs and some oatmeal with some Greek yogurt or something. And then you just go through your preparation for the day. So you'll do another physical warm up to make sure that your body's feeling ready. And before the races, we'll always get one inspection run. So we'll get to look at the course before we run it. And then on a separate hill in Killington, they'll have warm up courses set up. So then once we've looked at the course, we can go over and actually be able to hit a couple gates in a separate warm up course to get our bodies to kind of remind and get the body awake and connected to the feeling of a slalom turn. And then World Cups, you just have to wait your turn. Usually I'll start in the 40s, and so that happens about an hour after the official starting time from racer number 1. And so then you work on filling your time with whatever. Each athlete has a different routine. I like to listen to music, take my boots off. I'll usually reactivate my body with some more quickness drills. And if I really have a long time or I don't like sitting for very long, I'll just go out and free ski, because it's always, even if you're just out and moving, I think moving and continuing to move the body keeps the nerves channeled towards something productive rather than just sitting and getting even more and more nervous waiting for your turn.
Yeah, I mean, even listening to you describe this, like, I'm just trying to think of how I would react in a situation like this, and I would be the most nervous person ever. So I give you major, major props. But going forward, what would you say that your goals are, not only for this year, but, just going forward in general?
Yeah, I'm closer to the tail end of my career than at the beginning. I'm still very young in my mind and body. I'm 27 years old, and you can still have a really long career in skiing, especially now. Athletes, especially women, can have a career up to age 35 if they want to, if they're skiing well and they have the motivation, most importantly, and they're healthy. And so my long term is to go another Olympic cycle and qualify for the Olympic Games in Cortina 2026. And this will probably be close to my last season. And so that's my ultimate goal as an athlete, to reach that point. That would be amazing. And if everything is in my favor, I'll be able to do it as long as I can stay healthy. And for this season, it's a world championship year. We have world championships in Courchevel, Maribel, France this year, and that will happen in February. So my biggest goal this year is to qualify for that event and compete at the world championships representing the USA.
Well, I wish you all the best, and it was so great talking to you. Good luck with everything going forward, and thanks so much for your time, Lila.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope as many people can go watch the race as possible. It's going to be a great event. It's one of the best on the circuit. There's so much passion in New England for ski racing, and it's a really cool environment to see. So hope everyone can get out there.